What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. I'm going to break down my trades from the morning. I'm going to share with you the stocks I traded, why I chose them, why I thought they had the potential to go higher, and I'm going to break down my entries and my exits. Now, I'll say that today is a decent day. It's a green day. I'm sitting right now up $17,198.33. Not bad, not bad at all. Yesterday was a solid day, 33,000, best day of the week. Wednesday was my worst day of the week, was also my worst day of the month. I was up $8,000. Now that's not bad. It was still above my $5,000 daily goal, but it was, if we're going to keep it in perspective, the worst day of the month. And then Monday and Tuesday were right around the $20,000 mark each day. So my goal at the beginning of the week was to try to produce $100,000 of profit this week. $20,000 a day, 5 trading days. I didn't really allocate for a red day because I've been on a pretty nice hot streak right now. And so as it turns out, I'm finishing the week just shy or probably right at that daily goal. Now you can see the trades from today on the P&L, OSTX, XHLD, SMX, and JTAI is up here on the charts. And we're going to go over why I chose not to trade that one in a minute. And this is my calendar here for the week. So let's see. This is not going to include today's trades, but where was I at? I was at 89,000 coming into today. So yeah, that'll put me up just over 100,000 on the week. That's a great week. And I'm sitting now after today, getting close to 300,000 on the month of February. Wow, man, this market is really, what's unbelievable is the amount of volatility combined with the liquidity. I'm able to take big positions. And so today, the stock I made the most on was OSTX. So OSTX, I had no problem taking a 40,000 share position on this. No issue at all. There was tons of volume. It currently has, well, as of right now, let's see, OSTX, it's got 33 million shares of volume. It's got a 16 million share float. And yeah, it was just, it was not difficult for me to size up. So my biggest trade right there. So what happened on this was it kind of popped up, pulled back, popped up, pulled back. And as it squeezed here up to 3, I was sort of focusing on a different stock. It hits a high of about 340, pulls back, comes back up here, pulls back. And that was my big trade on it right there for the break through 350. So we broke 350 and we went up to 375, 380, all the way up to a high right here of 414. So I can break down that trade in a little bit more detail here. We'll pull up the 10-second chart. Actually, let's go back to the scanner. So let's see. So OSTX hit my scanners earlier this morning. What time did that news come out? Must have been about 7:30. So we're going to go back to 7:30 here on the scans. Okay, so so OSTX looks like it hit the scans at 270. That was the first hit on the scanner right here. And when I saw it hit the scanner, initially I kind of wrote it off. I was like, float's a little higher there, 16 million shares. And I kind of assumed it would be easy to borrow because we kind of have been seeing that. So I didn't really pay much attention to it. But nonetheless, it was on the scanners right there, OSTX, and it had news, and it's a therapies company, so it's in that space where we've been doing pretty well, and it starts to squeeze up. So if we pull up the 10-second chart here, initially, it moves pretty quickly, as you can see, from 210 all the way up to 250, drops down, then rallies up to 270, which is probably right around where it hit the scanners, pulls back again, and then comes back up around 845 up to 270, and we get a double top, right? Double top there, pulls back again, comes back up again, breaks the double top. That could have been an excellent trade, but I didn't take it. So didn't take that trade. It just, ends up breaking, and I missed it. Pops up to a high of 306, pulls back, and then right here starts to pull away a little bit. So my first trade on this one, the first entry for me was at about 748. So at 748, we had broken over $3 right here. And when we came back down and tested and held 3, I accumulated a position right through this area here. So I bought a position here and I wanted to see it hold 3, and it did. It popped up to 335, but then it came back down to 303. So that ended up being only about a $1,500 winner for me. It didn't really work exactly the way I wanted it to, but it came back down to 3 and it held support at 3. So I ended up adding back off the dip of 3. I thought, well, geez, this thing it's holding 3. And then it starts to pull away here up to 345. We break through the top of this candle right there. So this is an area, by the way, where we had support. There was clearly support at the psychological level of 3. So the reason I like the stock was because the therapeutics company, biotech stock, it's got a relatively low float. The price is fine. The only thing I guess I was a little concerned about was the float wasn't as low as some of the others. But because it was moving, I was willing to start breaking the ice and trading it. And when I looked at the daily chart on this, by the way, I looked at the daily chart and I thought, well, this is a somewhat recent IPO. I mean, it's not brand new, but it's somewhat recent. And, this thing, if it starts to get some momentum, we've got some room. So let's see what it wants to do. All right, now, as it started to pull away a little bit more, it taps 250, it pulls back, dips down to 230, and then as we curl back up right here, I added at about 248. So it's kind of a high entry, but I was looking for the breakthrough 250, and we broke 250, we go up to 260, we go up to 270, we go up to 280, we hit 285, boom. So on 40,000 shares right there, I'm taking some profit off the table. It dips down, and then I added back right here for another trade through 4, and we go up to a high of 415. So I was really hoping here that it would hold 4 the way it held 3 back in this area. If it had held 4 right here, then I was ready to size up and buy the dips for the next trade up through 415, 420, and higher. But it did not hold 4. It broke down, and so then that was it. So ended up capturing about $12,000 of profit. Now, 40,000 shares on this stock, 4 times 3, it's $120,000, $30,000, maybe pushing as we got up towards 4, a little higher than that. But, all things considered, not a, for me, outrageously large dollar position. And to pull $12,000 out of that within the span of, 15 minutes or so, that felt pretty good. And that's kind of my attitude with trading. It's always been that way, that I don't mind using capital as long as it's for a short period of time. Now, I wouldn't want to hold a position like that overnight and expose myself to the risk of bad news coming out or something drastic happening. But in the context of a day trade where I can control my entry and my exit, I'm okay with those bigger positions. And so I took a little bit of a bigger position on it, larger shares, total dollar amount wasn't insane, but, a little bit bigger relative to what others might be comfortable with, and captured, around 10% total, right? From 350 up to 380, but a couple of, scaling in, scaling out. So about 10% there, and that's not too bad. Okay, so then, now SMX, by the way, I had taken a trade on this a little bit earlier. This one popped up here, and I bought the dip right down here. I bought the dip and it curled back up. So I got a little trade right there for about $1,300, but it didn't hold, came back down. I wondered if it was going to curl back up later through this area and try to, make a move higher, but it did not. So that was SMX. And then XHLD, this is a stock that IPO'd yesterday. So it IPOs yesterday, it squeezes up, it drops down, pops up, drops down, pops up, drops down. Right here, it starts to pop up. So I got in this with an average of $9.50. So I was in kind of high on this candle. It squeezed up to 11 and I got out, I took my profit, and sadly it came all the way back down. So this ended up doing a full round trip, which is not, that doesn't give you a lot of confidence. You don't like to see that kind of move. So I added as it was popping up here and held through this consolidation, and then it popped up here and then came back down. And so this is basically where I was at, 950 average. So I got out, I got some out on this pop right here, which was good. That was profit. And then the rest was about break even. So this was not a great trade. I was a little bit disappointed. That was 830. And then right around that same time, JTAI started popping up. And I saw JTAI pop up and I saw the headline, reaches definitive agreement to acquire, Fly executive reaches definitive agreement to acquire Jet AI, aviation business, in an all stock transaction. So I'm thinking, oh, it's an acquisition, it's a buyout, right? So usually when we see something like that, an acquisition or a buyout, these end up trading more or less sideways at the buyout price. Now, as is not uncommon, the terms are a little bit, they're not plainly written here. So it's not like buyout at $12 or something that was be very clear. It says the purchase price shall be determined on Jet AI's net cash multiplied by the applicable premium percentage. Net cash of at least 12 million is a condition to closing of the business. So I was like, okay. And then the premium is between 115 and 120%. So equivalent to a range of 12 to 22 million. So then you kind of have to back that into, well, the number of shares outstanding and what that would equal per share. So I just sort of initially was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much higher this is going to go. I certainly don't think it's going to go parabolic. It's been bought out. So, it seems like the value is going to be somewhat fixed. So anyways, I ended up not trading it at all, but it did end up making some moves. So I felt a little surprised with that because that's just not typically a catalyst that would give us good momentum, but it is what it is. KDLY, this one's squeezing up right now, moving a little bit higher. It's a continuation setup, breaking first daily candle on the daily. MBRX, this one's been active today. Really kind of nasty flush on this one earlier. Was squeezing up here, 210 up to 250, and then flushes all the way back down. Then rallies back up, another big flush, rallies back up. So just a lot of choppy price action today. No doubt the best trade for me is OSTX, which was a little outside my profile because the float was just a little higher. But, it was the right sector and the stock ended up giving us a nice move. So that's where I sit right now, 17,000 on the day, coming up a little bit short of that $20,000 daily goal, which is a hot market daily goal. Regular daily goal is $5,000 a day, but in the market that we've been in here, the daily goal obviously goes up. So if we look at the last, if I looked at the last 12 months, part of the last 12 months, I was below daily goal of 10,000. But if we look at let's see, October, November, December, January, February, 5 months, I've been averaging 20,000 per day. So now I'm like, if I can maintain this average for another 5-6 months, then there'll be a 12-month window there, which will produce about $5 million of profit. If the market slows down, I go back to $10,000 daily average, that's more in the $2.5 million range. So $5,000 a day, that's $1 million a year. So 10,000 is 2 million, it's so on and so forth, approximately. So I kind of have that in my mind right now. I'm being aggressive. Most days recently, I've been staying a little longer because the market has been, giving us a lot of opportunities. And so I've been trying to capitalize on them as much as I can. But I'm also recognizing today, we're coming to the end of the week. It's Friday. I don't see a lot that's really obvious today. And, so given that, I'm kind of just, the market's giving me sort of no choice but to cool off and step back. I mean, I guess I could just be stubborn and keep trading anything that's moving, but it just doesn't feel like that would be a good idea. So easing off the throttle here, slowing down as we get further into the day. And although I'm a little under that aggressive daily goal right now, I was above it yesterday and I'm finishing above the weekly goal. So big picture, life is good. And I'll be back at it live streaming bright and early on, not Monday morning, Tuesday morning. Why not Monday? Market's closed on Monday. So President's Day here in the United States, we got a market holiday. So the market is closed on Monday, but I have an upload that I'll post here on YouTube. So you guys should check that out. And I'll be live streaming bright and early on Tuesday morning. So I hope you guys have a great long weekend and I'll see you back here bright and early, Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. I'll be streaming for members at Warrior Trading. Reminder as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk, take it slow, and always practice in a simulator before putting real money on the line. I'll see you on Tuesday.